Hey, what's up guys, Jack here from Magpie, and today I've got another gig review for you. It comes from real friends Can't Swim and Microwave from the 7th of April at the Asylum venue in Birmingham. But just before we get into things guys, I just want to remind you of our giveaway that we're doing over on Facebook. All you have to do is head over there, look for our pinned post, and you could be in with a chance of winning 2 tickets to Slam Dunk Festival in Birmingham. So kicking things off, we had Microwave, who are a pretty small band. I think it might be their first time over here in the UK. And they opened up the set and it was quite good. They're sort of emo punks, got people's head bobbing a little bit, but nothing special. No one really latched on to what they were doing. But I am excited to hear more from them. I'm definitely going to go back and listen to their album as well. Check them out if you're into that sort of emo punk and you're looking for a new smaller band. And then main support slots, we had Can't Swim, who were really making waves over the past year. They got signed about a year ago now and released Death Deserves a Name. And then they had Fail You Again, which came out just over a month ago. We did sit down at this gig with Can't Swim, so make sure you check out the link in the description for that interview if you want to know more about it. So as I said, they released that EP, and alongside that they got signed to Pure Noise Records, and then they finally became a full-blown band, full-time band as it were. They're kind of a emo, punk, grunge, there's loads of different elements in there, just throwing like basement, there's some turnover vibes, there's some decent bands floating around in that sort of melting pot that is Can't Swim. So moving on to the set itself, I was really excited to see those songs from Fail You Again live. Songs like $50 Million sounded great, the same with Stranger, that slipped right in the middle of the set. And then my favourite track from the set was probably What's Your Big Idea, with those hey, 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 sounded very big, and it sounded as if they could have got the crowd going, but that's the thing, they didn't really get the crowd going as much. There was some singing along, but there wasn't much in the way of moshing or crowd surfing. There wasn't as much crowd participation as I had hoped, really. Slightly disappointing, but at the same time, it's kind of understandable because I think it's literally their only second time over here in the UK, and the first time was supporting Boston Manor, and then this time obviously with Real Friends. So I imagine they're still building up that following over here, even though they are signed to Pure Noise, as I said, they're still building up that international following, I think. I haven't really talked about Can't Swim and Fail You Again this much on this channel, but I would recommend going back and listening to it, especially if you like what I'm saying here or what we talked about in the interview as well. It's kind of that sort of emo punk, there's some grunge vibes in there as well, throwing bands like Basement and Turnover, like I said, catchy hooks in there as well, gruff vocals, shouting through, and yeah, it's a really good album. It's one of my albums of the year so far, I think. Now on to the main act, Real Friends. Now I want to lead off by saying that we saw Real Friends, I think 2 years ago, same venue, but that was sold out. It was support from Trash Boat and Brawlers, I believe. And then this time it was obviously Can't Swim, Microwave. Still 2 really good solid lineups. However, one was sold out, this one hasn't. I'm not sure what has happened there with the fan base, whether they've just not latched on to the newer stuff or whether they've just got bored of Real Friends. I'm not sure what has happened there. It was definitely a quieter show. It was definitely not as rowdy as that show 2 years ago. So let's just sort of go into why that might have been the case. Now I've seen Real Friends in a lot of different live environments, sports slots, festivals, main acts, different size rooms, that sort of thing, and they're always tight live. They always seem to nail it live. However, this time round, they still sounded good live. However, I'm just not a fan of the Home Inside My Head album material. It doesn't really bounce as well as other releases, especially the earlier stuff, which I'm a big fan of. And definitely there was some reaction to both older and newer stuff, but I think the older stuff were they're just sort of cult classics in that sort of pop punk scene now. They kind of really led the way back in probably 2012, 2011, 2013, that sort of time period, where there was new bands bursting onto the scene, Net Deep, Story So Far, those sorts of bands. Real Friends were sort of in that as well. However, you know, Net Deep have gone on to bigger rooms, same with Story So Far. However, the Real Friends have stayed in the same venue and not sold it out, and I don't know whether that was some sort of anomaly or something like that, but it just didn't click in the same way that it did 2 years ago. Potentially the fact that they cancelled their tour, which was originally set for December, support from, I think it was With Confidence and Knuckle Puck, which would have been sick. However, this time round they've had to sub out those supports for different ones. I'm not saying they're worse or better or anything like that, but I don't know whether that might have had an impact on whether the selling of the shows, or people just didn't know about it really. So I've got my notes. I've noted down the set list as it was going on, and it started off Empty Picture Frames, Colder Quicker, Loose Ends, Floorboards, Late Nights in My Car. Those are the first 5 songs, and that was a really strong start. I really enjoy those older songs with a couple of new ones thrown in there as well. And I think you know, Colder Quicker and Empty Picture Frames are probably my favourites from the Home Inside My Head album. But it was quite a long set. It was a 18-song set, and it felt a bit longer than it needed to be. It was a good pacing throughout, but I feel as if they had some older ones thrown in there. I'm just saying that I just prefer the older stuff. That is what I would prefer to see. But you know, you got other favourites. They played I Don't Love You Anymore towards the end of the set, Dead as well, Anchor Down, and then finishing on Mess before the encore, which is probably my other favourite from the Home Inside My Head album. And then finishing up, I've Given Up On You, which is that big sing-along, that big sort of, that emo sort of song that everyone's sort of shouting, getting up on the shoulders, like absolutely going for it. And then finally Summer, which is that fast, bit more fast-paced song to sort of end the set off. But one thing, there was a definitely noticeable difference, because the band were way more into the crowd, and the crowd were way more into the band a couple of years ago. They ended on this little rendition of Rain in Blood by Slayer, which was just crazy. It had a huge circle pit which went pretty much the size of the room at the Asylum, and the guitarist stood in the middle playing it, doing this massive circle pit to Rain in Blood. It was a good round, all round good times really, and that was a noticeable difference from the set that I saw on Friday, which was a lot more subdued, you know, a bit more of a, you know, just a band and the crowd. They were just sort of, the band were obviously going for it, but the crowd didn't really, you know, replicate that, didn't really reflect that energy from Real Friends. And it's just, it was a decent crowd, but it's just, I've seen better from them. And I don't know whether this is sort of a decline for Real Friends. We'll just have to see. I'm really looking forward to see what the next album's going to be doing, because I felt the last album wasn't a step up in the same way that the first album, the debut album, was a big step up from those EPs that they had. So the next album's going to be very telling, I think. So if you can't tell already, this is not my favourite appearance from Real Friends. It was a solid gig, you know, I'd say like solid 7 out of 10, but I just know that there's so much more from Real Friends that I can expect, and I didn't really get that this time, but hopefully next time. So those are my thoughts of Real Friends at the Asylum venue in Birmingham. Make sure you drop in a comment down below if you went to any of these shows. Love to hear what you think as well. So as I said earlier in the video, we've got that interview with Can't Swim up right now on our channel, so make sure you look around for that, and we'll have the link for it in the description. If you want to know about their album, what they're doing on tour, all the different kinds of things, make sure you look at that video and make sure you're giving it a like as well. But if you're new to the channel, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and hitting a like on the video. And I've been Jack from Magpie, and I'll see you next time.